Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. I am so excited to work again in an older story kit this week with you and share some of the more complex or the more exciting, I guess, layouts that I am creating with the Breathe story kit with you today and on Wednesday. Today, my story is one about doing more of what takes your breath away, which was mostly inspired by this card right here that says literally, do more of what takes your breath away. I combined this with the card that says Gasp here and another one that says Breathe in the fresh air, because to me, this reminded me of going on vacations and just exploring the great outdoors, enjoying being outside and seeing just the wonders of what the world has to offer, and how this is something I would really like to add more of into our lives, whether that's my life or my life with the family. So I decided to make a 12 by 12 layout with this. And my idea was to add a photo on the right-hand side of this layout. And the photo is sized at 9 inches by 12 inches, which leaves me 3 inches here on the side of a 12 by 12. So I'm going to add this photo on here and then fill in the rest of the space with these journaling cards, the filler cards, and whatnot here. But, and this is where things are going to get a little interesting, I also have these 3 large wood veneer hearts. And what I decided to do with these, just as something really different, is to add them to the right-hand side of this photo where there's a lot of white space, meaning the subjects, my children, are not necessarily over here on the right side of the page, and then the trail you can see goes up into the woods there, up the sand dune. So I'm not covering up anything important by adding these 3 hearts to the right side of the page. I very well could have just left them as the wood veneer, and that would have been beautiful in and of itself. I could have even added additional handwriting in here, or some tiny phrase stickers, or used my typewriter to type out journaling and add those in the hearts here. What I decided to do, though, is to actually print out 3 additional photos from this same day. And I'm going to cut them down so that they will fit inside of these hearts with a little bit of the wood veneer sticking out around the side, and use them as a place to add more imagery of the story that I am depicting here. So that's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward while I get this part done, because it's just going to take a little bit of thought and finagling for me to do, so it's hard to talk through that. Once I get the layout completed, though, we'll slow back down, I'll read the journaling for you, and then we'll call this one done. So let's go ahead and dive into the process. To get started on this layout, first I'm going to set aside the bonus photos and all 3 of those wood veneer hearts and just focus on the 12 by 12 foundation first. So for this one, I'm taking the large photo that I printed, the 9 by 12 photo, and I'm going to add double-sided adhesive around the perimeter as well as one in the middle. Then I'll set aside all of the journaling cards and just add my photo onto the plain, well, it's not plain, it's a textured white cardstock that has the journaling already printed on it. So basically what I did is I took off the backing on one side of the photo and then stuck it down so it was straight and in the position where I wanted it to go, and then I'll take off the remaining backing and stick the entire photo down. That just made it a little bit more manageable for making sure everything was positioned exactly where I wanted it positioned. Once I have that done, then I'm going to go ahead and add my journaling cards onto the left side of this layout. So we'll start with the 3x4 card there. I'm not going to add anything onto that 3x4 card. I just want it to serve as decoration or filler for the bottom section, and also bringing in more of that green outdoors type of feeling. For the Gasp card, I cut off a 1/2 inch on both sides, so on the top and on the bottom, so that the Gasp word would remain in the middle, and then it would just be a 3x3 square up at the top. And then I also added in one of the chipboard phrase stickers. I believe it says a breath of fresh air, and I put that right underneath the word gasp. So that is essentially the 12 by 12 portion, and really the layout could have stopped there. It could have been just that, the large photo with the strip of journaling and bonus cards. But I wanted to do the heart pieces on top of that large photo. So what I did is I printed off the photos here where the focal point of the photo, what I wanted to make sure was included inside of the heart, was kind of centered in the photo itself. And then I cropped the photos down to the total height, or maybe a little bit taller than the total height of the heart by the total width of the heart, or a little bit more than the total width, right? So it's just a little bit taller and a little bit wider. Then I could take my wood veneer heart and layer it on top of the photo using a slick writer pen to go ahead and trace around the heart. Once I did that for all three of these photos, I'm going to cut them out, which you'll see me do the first one here, and then I'm going to skip over the other ones. You'll just see them once they're totally cut out. And now these would be the exact same size as the hearts themselves, but I actually want the wood veneer to be a little bit of a border around the outside of the photos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab each of the hearts, and I'll start with this one, and then I'll skip over the other two because it does take a little bit of finagling, and I'm sure you don't need to see all three of them. But what I'm going to do is bring it to the side and do my best to cut off an even amount of edge around the whole heart itself. So I'm just trimming that off, and that way when I lay it on top of the wood veneer portion, you can see some of the wood veneer poking out from behind it. Now I didn't do a perfect job, so I'm positioning it on the heart and then seeing where I need to do a little bit of extra trimming, and then I'll put it back down on the heart again to see if that fixed it, and then I'll realize, nope, I need to trim a little bit more off of the edge down at the bottom until I get it exactly how I want it to be, which we're almost to that point with this one here. This was the first one I did as well, so it did, I tried to be pretty conservative in how much I was taking off of the edge. The other ones I didn't hold back so much. Once I have it exactly how I like it, then I'm going to add some roller adhesive onto the back of the photo heart, stick it down on top of the wood veneer heart, and then I'll set that to the side until I get the other two done. And now you can see how those turned out right here. Now that I have the photos on top of the wood veneer, next I'm just going to add more of that double-sided adhesive onto the back of the wood veneer hearts, and then we will remove the backing and get those positioned on the photo. Part of what's nice about the large photo is the hearts are not covering up any of the important parts. So it made it really easy to add these on top of the larger canvas as embellishments or additional photos in during this adventure of ours. I'm going to add my date stamping into the blank space there and then call this one done. All right, friends, that completes my layout for today. This one turned out really cool. I'm so glad that I cut an additional portion off of each of those photos so we get that wood veneer poking out around the edge of these photos. I think it helps to differentiate them from the background and also lets you see more definition of their shape as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and read the journaling for this layout. So for this one, I said, I've always loved to explore the great outdoors when traveling. There's something about getting away from normal life that makes me want to be outside and physically moving my body. It's exhilarating, and even more so now that we are able to share these experiences with the kids and watch the wonder fill their eyes as they start to realize just how big the world is. Why is it that this type of exploration, the hikes up the sand dunes, the trudges through the forest, the flying down bike trails, the strolls through downtowns, is sequestered away as a vacation activity? Why is this what I feel called to when on vacation, but not in my everyday life? I think that is worth a pause and think. As we enter into a new year with new goals and new plans, this needs to be more a point of consideration. How can we do more of what takes our breath away? How can I add more exploring into our everyday activities? Maybe it's going on a regular walk. Maybe it's visiting a local park each month. Or maybe it's taking the kids somewhere in nature and looking for the small wonders, rocks, acorns, leaves, and trees. How can we live more in nature this year and experience the big, wide, wonderful world? So just a layout that helps depict, right, this being outside and wonder-filled and this great big world we live in. But really the story is more a contemplation of, you know, why is it that vacations seem to be when we're doing this type of activity and not in a more regular or on a more regular basis in our normal lives. And so I really enjoy having products that help me to sit down and think for a little bit and just question why certain things are the way they are in our life, and also push, you know, the comfort zone on maybe this is something we want to try doing more of this year in our normal life, that sort of thing. All right, friends, well, this is a layout that you will find a template for in this month's digital package. This one, as well as all of the layouts that I'm going to create with the Breathe Story Kit, the newer Story Kit stories as well, and the stamp layouts that you're going to see over the next couple of weeks. So if you haven't had a chance to go and grab the downloads from that file, make sure to do so. And then you'll have the template for journaling and photos and all of that kind of stuff. So if this is something that you would like to try doing with your products, then that option is there for you. All right, friends, I will be back again on Wednesday with another layout using the Breathe Story Kit. So hopefully I'll see you back here then. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Happy Monday to you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.